It's like a 70s porno. It's like something right out of the 70s. It's kind of like Rockford Files, Barney Miller, all that kind of shit. Remember those shows? They were classic.
That's kind of a strange introduction tune.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Barney Miller or... Check it out.
Who is Barney Miller?
Barney Miller, the TV show. You don't remember Barney Miller?
No.
Come on. Barney Miller.
I never watched it.
Flush After Listening, the show where we talk, and I'm just about to teach Dennis vintage, as they call vintage 70s TV shows. Dennis, come on. You don't remember Barney Miller with...
Wait a minute. You're talking, what, early 70s?
Yeah, Barney Miller with Hal Holden and...
I was still in the fucking military.
Fish and Wojciechowicz and all that kind of fucking shit.
Working 12-hour shifts. I didn't have time to watch TV.
Good porn back then, too. Porn back then, if you watched porn back then, you had to go to a movie theater. And if you remember, the movie theater, it never had a label outside. It was just the movie theater. Like, you didn't have anything, there was no name on it. There was no XXX. You go in there to the sticky movie theater, all the floors would be sticky. You know why. It wasn't because people were dropping soda on the floor. And, they'd be wanking off in the seats or whatever else they did in there. And sticky movie theater, that's what I call it.
You were right there with Pee Wee Herman, huh?
No, well, I wasn't watching fag porns, but I was never there. But I remember seeing... in the newspaper, there'd be like a little, in the back where the movie section was, there'd be like a little tiny little small little square, and it would say like such and such theater, XXX. It wouldn't show any pictures. It would just say like, show a head, like a woman's head down to almost to her titties, and it would say like the name of the movie. It was always like, and the names were always great. Well, the names are great now. Like, they have a porno called The Horny Mooners. Not the honeymooners, the horny mooners. There's another one called I Dream of Being in Genie. I mean, there's all these puns on, classic porn.
On real shows.
Yeah. They need to do one for Gilligan's Island. That would be fucking great. Matter of fact, I think they did do one for Gilligan's Island. I think they actually did do it. Now...
I wouldn't doubt it.
I think they did. I'm almost positive. If I ever go into porn, I already have my name. I have my name totally set up. I'm going to be called Dong Johnson. Not Don Johnson. Dong Johnson. Or, instead of Ben Affleck, I will be called Bent Asslick. I have this all figured out already. I'm setting up my porno career, Dennis, for the future.
You've been selling too much porn on eBay.
I'm not doing no porn. Now. I'm not doing anything with porn.
Yeah, bullshit.
No, I'm just... I remember those days.
Slides and magazines and black and white photos. And
do you remember when the days of when... And I think you told me this. Do you remember back when... how did you tell me? You used to have to go to somebody's basement to watch stag movies. Do you remember you told me that story a long time ago? Like you would have to go to somebody's house, and it was like a designated...
They were on 35 millimeter, and somebody had a projector and a screen, and that was the big bachelor party deal.
Really?
That's before they had the strippers and the pole dancers and the jumping out of cakes nude and all this stuff for bachelor parties.
So that was the
Everybody got together, went down in the basement, locked the damn door so nobody else could come in, had all their beer and everything else, and they had a little 3-foot screen and a 35 millimeter projector and watched porn movies.
Get them out and start wanking.
In black and white, not color, in black and white.
Did anybody pay for this, or was it just like, a bunch of dudes got together? Or...
Oh, you had to buy the 35 millimeter movie. They got shipped to you in a plain wrapper.
Yeah. It's like
no return address on it, no labels, no nothing.
Nothing, not a thing. It's like when you used to get the guys would go into like the adult, shop. They put all the porns in a brown paper bag. It's like when you leave the liquor store and you're putting it in a brown bag. What do you think? Nobody knows what you're carrying in there. I mean, you don't have to be fucking Einstein.
Well, particularly when you scrunch it up around the neck of the bottle because you're going to be sipping it walking down the sidewalk.
So when these guys did this in somebody's basement, were they charging admission or was it just a bunch of friends or?
Oh, just a bunch of guys got together. Like I say, it was a classic deal for bachelor parties.
Did everybody throw in for the amount of the movie, or was it just somebody paid for it? Or did everybody throw $5 in or $2 or whatever?
Oh fuck! I mean, they were paying over $100 for those movies back then.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, kid you not.
Well, because you know what? There was no fucking iPhone porn. I could turn the iPhone around right now and find DPs and gay porn and fucking three-ways and gangbangs and cream pies and fucking BBWs, and everybody's like, what's Dave talking about?
Well, that was the only form of private movie watching that there was back then. Carnal
entertainment. It's classic, though. You see all the guys going in the basement. Nobody's talking. Nobody's saying anything. Everybody's all quiet. It's like, and then here comes the bag. The bag comes out. Everybody is all anticipating as, you hear. He's got the bag, setting up the projector. Everybody's having a couple drinks. Yo, the party's about to begin. Now, were these movies full-on hardcore pornography, or were they soft-core porn?
No, they were hardcore.
Oh, penetration, the whole nine.
If you can think of it, they had it.
No shit. Well, I mean, hey, listen. You had to have an outlet, and you couldn't watch it on TV. It wasn't available. There was no cable to speak of. And you had the sticky movie theater, but nobody wanted to get caught going into the sticky movie theater. Sticky floor theater. So you'd have somebody's basement.
And prior to that, you go back into the 19th century, the 1800s, the so-called Victorian proper era.
Yeah, well,
and you had all these kinds of underground photographers that were photographing porn.
Probably doing other shit, too. All kinds of shit behind the scenes. This is big dresses. You can't show ankles. And everybody's nude behind the scenes. It's great. What is the big taboo about it anyway? I just saw a thing on... I actually heard it on the radio. I don't watch TV. The guy said they're coming out with the miniest bikini now. It actually has a clasp in the center, like a ring, like you'd have on a luggage bag. And that's all that holds, this little pieces of fabric. Come on. Dennis, seriously. We evolutionized enough where, as far as I'm concerned, women can walk around with their tits out. It's going to get me excited, of course. But let me tell you something. It's like when you're introduced to having a drink in Europe. They start them drinking young. So when they get old, that ain't such a big whoop-da. If we all sat around watching tits wiggle in our face all day long, it really wouldn't make much of a difference after a while. Well, that's probably not true. I'd still get excited by a pair of boobies, but...
Well, back in the 70s in Detroit, burlesque was still really popular. And one day, and because she was popular when she was, really young, now she's 68 or 70 at that time, was Chesty Morgan.
Ooh, I remember that name. I remember that.
A 72-inch chest on her.
That's a little much. I don't know if that gets me excited. I mean, it's cool, but yeah, it's a little bit big.
Well, for burlesque, and she did a lot of things with it because there was a lot of cops there, and I think she knew that. And she did things with machine guns, and she had a lot of stage props that were police gangster related.
Yeah, well, as long as she wasn't shoving things places. But
yes,
it's like this girl I saw on Facebook a couple months back. She takes her boobs; they're massive. She smashes things with them. She smashes cans.
Yeah, I saw that video.
She smashes watermelons.
She has implants. She does say shit. She has implants.
It doesn't matter if she's smashing cans, watermelons, fruit.
Yeah,
it's gotta hurt.
Not really. I don't think so. probably all numb from being cut open and the implants put in. It's mostly all silicone.
Yeah, well, why would you
Only
want...
thing she got is the outside edge of her skin, and that's probably desensitized.
But I mean, like saline or whatever, whatever they use, I would think something can get damaged. You're smashing your tit into a fucking can or a cantaloupe. I mean, who does this shit? Anything for a kick. Anything for a thrill.
Masochists do that kind of stuff. They like the pain.
Well, she's looking for attention. Let's be honest. You think about it.
Obviously, she was flat-chested, and all of a sudden she's size 56 cup.
I don't know if she was flat-chested, but she was not as big as she is now. But the thing about it is people do these kind of things. I see it all the time. You see shit on YouTube. Do you remember that fat guy that strung himself with fireworks out in the snow and lit him off, and then he burned his back and his skin and his neck and everything else? To shoot a YouTube video, like just to get a little attention. People will do anything to get a little bit of attention. It bewilders me, Dennis. Why do you need that much attention? It's fucking psychopathic. You know?
Well, you know how to go find the best fireworks stand anywhere, don't you?
No.
You got to search around, but you finally will find it. And the guy that sells the best fireworks has an eye patch and only 3 fingers.
I knew you were going to say he's missing fingers. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's learned his lesson. It's like the old joke. I can't tell that joke. That's a bad joke. If I tell that joke, we're going to get in trouble. Somebody will say, Dave propagates abuse. But the joke is, fuck it, I'll say it anyway. The joke is, what do you tell a woman with 2 black eyes? Nothing. She's already been told twice. And everybody's going, oh, Dave's advocating, abuse and
violence.
Yeah, violence. Cry me a river. Yeah, I'm fucking sitting here punching women in the eye, and I'm fucking abusing people, and I'm fucking smoking and drinking, and I'm throwing fucking wrappers out the window, and I'm fucking... I'm driving a 1971 Gran Torino, and I'm still burning leaded fuel, and I'm fucking running wide open, Dennis. I'm fucking nude out in the street. I'm having sex on the corner. I'm fucking watching hardcore pornography as I rode down the street. I'm blasting my music at 2 o'clock in the morning, driving down the street. I'm fucking banging on doors. I'm fucking doing everything that's wrong. Everything.
You know, that was a good movie with Clint Eastwood, Gran Torino.
That was a good movie. That was a good movie.
I liked that movie. It was good.
I didn't see the latest one, The Mule. I don't know if I want to. I didn't like the end of Gran Torino.
Well, yeah, he kind of died in a funny way.
Yeah, all those Chicanos shot him. Like, Clint Eastwood doesn't die at the end of a movie.
But you see, even though he died, he won. Because he got them all put away in jail, and the kid didn't have his cousins bother him anymore, and then he leaves the kid the Gran Torino, which really pissed off his little niece who wanted it.
Fuck that. Do you want to see that Clint Eastwood, or do you want to see the Clint Eastwood that rolls up on his donkey, and they shoot at it, and the donkey runs, he drops off the thing, comes back, and he says, "My mule doesn't take to laughing. Now, if you apologize to the mule, everything will be okay." And they don't apologize. And he says, "My mule doesn't appreciate people laughing at him. He doesn't mind if I do, but others kind of gets him sensitive." And he pulls out and shoots 7 of them.
He shot 5 guys off the fence.
Right. That's the Clint Eastwood I know. Or this.
And that was just prior to that, he walks by the Undertaker and says 4 coffins.
Yeah, my mistake. 5 coffins.
When he comes back, he goes, "My mistake, 5.
Yeah, that's the kind of Clint Eastwood you want to see. The one that goes, "I know, punk. You're wondering, did he shoot 5 shots or 6? And to tell you the truth in all the confusion, I kind of lost track myself. But you got to ask yourself, you feel lucky, punk? Well, are you?"
I always like Lee Van Cleef.
Oh, I like Lee. Yeah, I like that one. Well, that was the best. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. With the Mexican. What's his name? I can't think of his name. We used to have a friend. We nicknamed him it.
Jose?
No, not Ponko.
Angelo?
No. Oh God, what's his name? I can't think of.
Pedro?
No, it's an odd name. It's nothing common. Tuco. That was it. Tuco. It was Tuco, Clint Eastwood. I don't know what Lee Van Cleef's name was in the show, but
Was it the guy who was smoking pot all the time?
no, Tuco was the little Mexican. He was the ugly. You had the good, who was Clint Eastwood.
Didn't he smoke pot all the time too?
No, they always smoked those little fucking. Well, Clint smoked the cigars. The little Mexican smoked little hand rolled cigarettes. The good was Clint. The bad was Lee Van Cleef, and the ugly was Tuco. Remember at the end when they were all standing in the graveyard or standing around those rocks, and they're all looking at each other, and everybody's going to draw their guns. Come on, Blondie! Hey, Blondie! Come on, Blondie! Isn't that the same one where he was using somebody to go into town to steal the money, and they'd put him on the hangman's noose, and Clint Eastwood would come in and shoot the hangman's noose? I think it was Tuco they were using. The little Mexican.
Could be.
Well, actually, he
I
wasn't.
haven't watched those in ages.
Oh, my God, you need to start watching them again. I don't think he was Mexican. I mean, I think he was portrayed to be, but he was actually, I think, Italian. I can't remember the, I was going to say artist. Actor's name. I can't remember it. I'll never fucking... If you offer me $1 million right now, with no using phone, no using Google, I'd never fucking remember it. But yeah, that was good stuff.
I think the best comedy type Western with a lot of shoot 'em up in it was My Name Is Nobody.
Never saw that.
Nobody Is My Name.
Never saw that.
He would draw the guy's pistols out of his holsters, put them back, slap him in the face 3 times, draw the guy's pistols out, slap him in the, he was like super fast.
I never saw that.
But it was more of a comedy than it was a Western.
I thought you were going to say Blazing Saddles. Because everybody loves that.
Blazing Saddles could never be shown anymore.
Why?
It's not politically correct.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, unfortunately, you're right. Unfortunately, that's exactly the truth. It's just not popular. You can't show that kind of shit anymore. Just like All in the Family can't be shown. And actually, what probably could be shown, ironically, probably could be shown and would be allowed, which is pretty fucked up, would be the Jeffersons. Because remember, George Jefferson used to call everybody honky. They probably would
I mean, he was a racist.
They probably would let that go.
Oh, no. And because he's black, a liberal, and a racist, yes, you're right. It would be allowed.
It probably would be allowed. I don't know if they'd be allowed to say honky, but the show would still be on. Now, Archie, I don't think that would ever fly. You got to remember,
Archie was too conservative.
He called everybody everything. There was nobody safe. There was no ethnic, no religion.
Even the Jews down the street caught flack.
Everybody. I mean, if no matter what ethnic religion, ethnicity, sexual preference, fucking Archie would tear you a new ass. But, and if you think about it in the long run, Archie had a fucking Spanish housekeeper at the end, and he was pretty tight with Jefferson's brother, not George, the other one. He always came over to the house, and he allowed Meathead to live in the house. So I mean, and Meathead was a total pinko commie, as Archie would say. My favorite episode.
It was a multi-international program.
My favorite episode, one of my favorite episodes, is when Mike and Archie get locked in the basement and they can't get out. That's one. And the other one is another basement episode. So Mike and Archie get drunk on a bottle of booze that's down there, and they start telling each other what they feel about each other. The second one that's good is when Archie himself gets locked in the basement, and everybody's away for the weekend, and he gets drunk on something in the basement, and he's praying to God to come save him. And somebody's banging at the doors, the basement doors outside. You have those metal, I forget what they're called. Anyway, somebody's banging at and saying, Mr. Bunker, are you down there? And he's like, nah, because he was praying to God. He goes, oh, I'm down here, Lord. I'm down here, Lord. Please come. He goes, I'm coming around, Mr. Bunker. And he goes, oh, Lord, please help me, Lord. And he goes, Mr. Bunker, I'm in the house. I'm coming around. Oh, Lord, thank you. He gets down on his hands and knees to pray. Guy comes down the steps. It's a tall black man. He goes, he looks up at the black guy and he goes, God forgive me, the Jeffersons was right. Meaning God was black. It's the best scene. One of the best scenes in there. And the other best.
That would be pretty funny.
And the other one was when Sammy Davis Jr. came to the house and sat in his chair and actually kissed Archie. That was a classic fucking one.
Carol O'Connor was a good actor.
Carol O'Connor was the exact opposite of Archie Bunker. You know, Carol O'Connor lost his son from an overdose. Carol O'Connor was actually the exact opposite of the Archie character. And his accent was actually Southern. So how he got that Queen's accent perfectly. And if you watch the pilot episode, Gene Stapleton doesn't have it that good. She gets it better later. And he was right from the get-go. He had it down. I mean, because I come from up that way. So I know how they sound. And, you know, until Archie, Archie. That's how they sound. It's nasally, whiny, and, you know, Archie would say things like, and my grandfather was the same way. They say Earl instead of oil. They mispronounce things. Archie used to call perverts preverts. You know, he would say all kinds of shit. You know, it's... that was a different time. And that's the same period as Barney Miller. So I'm surprised you have not ever listened to Barney Miller.
Only thing I can think of is some doctor named Barney.
No, that's Barnaby. You're thinking of another show, Barnaby Jones. That's a detective show. This is sometime, if you get a chance, Google Barney Miller and watch an episode. It was good. It was Barney Miller, Wojciechowicz, Fish. Do you remember Fish? Abe Vigoda. Do you know Abe Vigoda from The Godfather? Abe had his own show called Fish. You had the Japanese guy, the black guy, the creepy guy with the glasses, the doofus guy, and then you had that chief that used to come in and say, "Hey, Bon, I know you don't have a lot of time, but..." He was a famous actor, actually. I can't think of his name now. Harry something or other. But Barney Miller was a fucking cool show, and I think it was ahead of its time. And Hal Linden, not Hal Holbrook. Hal Linden was Barney Miller. Hal Linden never really did shit after Barney Miller, but he was good as Barney Miller. Maybe he was in the Sticky Movie Theater. I don't know. Later on down the line, the Sticky Movie Theater.
I used to watch Barella.
What's Barella?
Isn't it Barella? The guy with the parrot, the detective.
Beretta. You're talking about Beretta. Robert Blake. Yeah.
Okay, Beretta.
Yeah.
I used to watch that on occasion.
Eye on the sparrow. Ta-na-na-na-na. He used to say, if you do the crime, you do the time. He was good in Hell's Kitchen. You should watch that. That's when he was a priest in New York in Hell's Kitchen. That was good. He wasn't the regular typical priest either, mind you. No, it's fucking Robert Blake. How could he possibly be? And I don't know what happened with him because he fucking apparently killed his wife, went to jail, got out of jail, or... He got crazy. You know when he was really good? He played in the movie In Cold Blood. Truman Capote wrote that book. He was in that movie, if you anybody listening. In Cold Blood. Robert Blake was unstable, which it's not a far-fetched learning down the road later. He was young. He's probably in his early 20s, and he got that part. That might have been his first movie. And he was a greaser. Had the ducktail, duck's ass, the pomade, had the leather jacket. And they went in a farmhouse and killed the entire family. That was a good movie.
Jack Nicholson, one of his first movies was with Vincent Price. Horror show.
Jack Nicholson was good in the movie with Randy Quaid, The Last Detail. That was a good fucking movie. When they were two sailors that had to transport a prisoner.
Oh, I remember that one.
That was good. That was a good fucking movie. All that shit was good. Nowadays, Hollywood movies are fucking stupid. They suck. Garbage. Crapola. Although I know you're excited about your John Wick, but he's actually...
I like John Wick.
Well, he's actually a good guy. He's actually
I
like
the entire Matrix series.
Yeah, I never saw that. I never watched
with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Well, Keanu Reeves is actually a nice guy. If you read stuff about him, and he's not doing it just to get grab-ass publicity. He's actually a nice guy. He actually has a good heart. And I read on the set of The Matrix, he actually gave most of the stunt people, almost, I guess all of them, he bought them all brand new motorcycles. He's actually a nice guy. I mean, most of them are pricks.
Yeah, they were giving him accolades on the news here a couple days ago because he doesn't paw over women in public. He's a gentleman in public with women.
Well, he has. He's set up.
Not like Joe Biden, who's sniffing their hair and holding on to their shoulders.
Poor Joe. Old Joe. Keanu Reeves actually set up a few years back. He set up a charity to help people out with certain. I forget the disease, but anyway, they actually trailed it to him, so he admitted to it. But he actually set up and donates to this charity to help with this. I think it's cancer, some sort of rare cancer disease or something like that. So
well, there are a few good ones in Hollywood.
Very, very, very
few. But for the most part, they're all in it for themselves.
Scarce. Few and far between, Dennis, over there in that shithole town. It doesn't matter because the earthquake's coming. It's going to break off and send them all straight back to hell anyways. All those fornicators and...
Well, I always love all the earthquake movies and the apocalypse movies that destroy Hollywood and Los Angeles and most of the state of California.
Nothing wrong with that. Everybody's going, fuck you, Dave. I live in Los Angeles.
When I was stationed in San Francisco, I looked it up because I was curious because the San Andreas Fault runs all the way up, and there's several fault lines up there in San Francisco, and there was a major fault line right underneath the Presidio where I was stationed.
Never happened, though, did it?
Well, they have earthquakes all the time, but you don't notice them.
Good old Frisco. That town's a real shithole.
There was a presidential bunker there at the Presidio, and I thought that was a dumb place to have a bunker until later on they started building all these nuclear plants on top of earthquake faults.
You know what I think is cool? I can go to San Francisco, be out of the restaurant, outdoor cafe. If I got to take a shit, I can walk right out front and take a shit. I can just take a shit and piss wherever I want to. I don't have to go to the bathroom. It's fucking great. That's the reason.
Water and 2 fingers and you can clean your ass, right?
No shit. I just grab a napkin off the fucking table and wipe my ass, take a shit right there on the ground. Right, walk right out front the outside cafe and just take a shit right on the... It's like fucking Camden. I might as well be... It's like being in Camden, New Jersey, or fucking Trenton, or fucking downtown Newark. Who gives a fuck? Let's take it, Atlantic City.
Other than the hippies, and they pretty much stayed in the Haight-Ashbury district. 1968 in San Francisco, the town itself was a nice, clean...
Oh, it was.
...town with a lot of things going on. I went to... well, they called them underground theaters.
Uh-oh.
But the term was because where they were at. Oh. And they were like converted basements that had been turned like in a big building.
Or like South Central.
They converted the basement into movie theaters, but they showed, a lot of foreign films and like the Asian sword fighting films that you wouldn't see at a regular theater. And they actually were pretty good.
No porns, though. No sticky movie.
No porn. It
no
was
sticky movie theater.
Good movies.
No, back in the day, Haight-Ashbury and all that, Asbury, whatever you call it, it was burgeoning. The Grateful Dead, the Jefferson Airplane, Quicksilver Messenger Service. There was some good music came out of it. It was like Seattle in the 90s with the alternative music. There was that epicenter.
Well, I went to a theater that
Yes.
had been built in the late 1800s that had survived the earthquake in 1906, and they had used it for vaudeville and everything, and then converted it into a movie theater, and the seats were actually like rocking chairs. They were really kind of neat. They were comfortable.
And now I can go there and take a shit in the street.
And yeah, it has went downhill a whole lot.
And you call it like the Sticky movie theater. Same deal, same shit, different flies. You know, this is life, Dennis.
Uh-oh. I hear the music coming.
Yeah, we're getting flagged. We got the flag. Flag's up. Use it.
Red flag time.
Use it or lose it, they said. The guys in the suits said it's enough for us. We're done. They're giving us the hook. The cane's out. Sticky movie theater music.
Oh, there it is.
Little porno going on for you. Flush after listening. Thanks for listening. And contemplate everything we said. There's a piece of truth to everything we say. I'm not sure how big the piece is. Morsel size or gobbledygook size. Jumbo. Fragment, yeah. Anyway. Have fun. Thanks for listening. I have nothing else to say. Dennis?
Good night, Amadeus.
Mwah.